crypto warriors, changing our world day by day. The way of the crypto warriors, can't rely on the bankers, no way.
Morning, good morning, Bix Weir, roadroo.com. It's your morning horn. Here's your sip of chaga coffee. Lots in the news today about the official government mandates. I cannot talk about that. I am sitting with a strike net right now on YouTube. Clearly, that is not going to foster love and prosperity in our future. Wow. If Americans wanted something to shake them out of bed, a mandated type of thing like that would be definitely something to do. And a lot of people will quit. And a lot of the things that people don't really talk about is the destruction of the economic system that's going on. Why? Because the stock market, bond market, silver market, gold market, crypto market, they're all rigged. They're rigged to go the way that the riggers want. You can create a false sense of everything's fine by rigging every single market with computers and derivatives, and that's what they've been doing for the last 50 years. 50 years of this shit. So silver's being held under $25. What a gift. Oh my God. That's like your last Christmas present type of thing. But yeah, so silver and it's mainly silver. Gold doesn't really matter. There's so much gold. There's so much gold in the world. It's shocking, truthfully. 10 times, at least 10 times above ground what they say is above ground. All my gold bug friends hate me for saying that. I would ask them to do a little research. It's not hard to find. You can start with Yamashita's gold. Read a book called Gold Warriors. And talk about 300 tons of gold. Remember, Jeffrey Christian, CPM Group, ex-Goldman Sachser, who they put off, basically Jeffrey Christian from Aon split off when Goldman Sachs took him over. And they said, okay, we're going to rig the markets, but we need some kind of third-party entity to agree with what we say when the supply and demand figures come out. Hey, Jeff Christian, straighten your toupee and go over there and start your own company, and we'll get all the banks to pay for it. And then you and Robert Rubin will go into all the central banks and mobilize their gold and lease the physical gold into the market. That's what happened. I mean, it's so simple and so obvious. And Jeff Christian should be in jail right now, but he's still wandering around the internet, his little cushy job where all the banks pay him to tell us what is really going on in the market, and he walks around all the conferences straightening his toupee and shit like that. People say, Bix, why are you so mean to Jeff Christian? Jeff Christian has a heart of darkness. You should go to the private road to Roota, and Jenny Moonstone did a reading on just his face. She didn't know who it was. That's a dark dude. Spiritually dark. And we know we love the spiritual world. All right. So they're rigging silver today. They're rigging cryptos today. Remember, this is just a click of a mouse type stuff. These are all derivatives trading. It's not the real thing. It's not like, millions of Bitcoin traded hands. 21 million Bitcoins trade hands in this week. No, it's all derivatives. These exchanges, they don't, most of them have no idea what's going on. They'll get a sell order. And then people will try to pull their cryptos off, like at Mt. Gox, and it'll go belly up and say, we got hacked. They didn't get hacked. Mt. Gox didn't get hacked. They got called the bluff. They called the bluff that your customers held way more Bitcoins than you had to give. And they were trading it every day. And then all of a sudden, a couple big entities said, I'm going to get out. And boof, Mt. Gox got blown up. And then those Bitcoin were used in 2017, 2018 to destroy the crypto market. That's how the game's played. It's so obvious to everybody if you're on the road to Roota. So yeah, I think the price of silver, the price of cryptos will go to zero before the end of the year as the banks crash. Remember, all these companies that exchanges and even coin market cap itself and all the companies that report on the price, they all run off fiat monetary. They have a back office. They have employees. They got to pay these people. When the banks crash, they'll all be bankrupt. You're not going to get your cryptos out of Coinbase when the banks crash. No, not a chance. Most likely, the executives will run off with them. But there's a chance it might get caught up in bankruptcy, like Mt. Gox. So talk to me in 8 years, type of thing. I still haven't got my Bitcoin out, and they're telling me it's worth less than $400. Because that's the price it was when Mt. Gox went down. It was $450, and now it's, whatever, $45,000, but they're not going to give me $45,000 for my Bitcoin because they used it. They used it to suppress the price all these years. That's the kind of criminality we're dealing with within the government, within the banks, within the exchanges on, there's a lot of dark, dirty deeds going on in the exchanges. If you support the pedo world, you support some of these exchanges, like Bitfinex. Dive down that rabbit hole, it's really ugly. And that's part of the reason why they can't let cryptos be part of the system right away. They got to cleanse it a little bit, take out some of the bad guys. We'll see, though. I don't know how that all is going to work out. I do know the world absolutely needs data to have the internet even work in the future. So I don't know what else they can do but allow certain cryptos that didn't ICO to go forward, and the ones that did will probably have to face the wrath of the government. And we know what happens in the wrath of the government. Ask Reggie Middleton. All right. So yes, even the stock market was allowed to go down a little bit. I don't know what they're going to do with the stock market because you can't have a new financial system with the current stock market. The current stock market valuations, but even more important is the actual shares of stock. Multiple owners, 5 to 10 owners for every share. Legitimate owners and fake owners. Nobody will know what share of stock, who owns what. That's a mess. Imitations get thrown into the lake, as Nostradamus says. Imitations of gold and silver get thrown into the lake. That has resonated with me for 20 years. For 20 years, I've been thinking about that quote from Nostradamus. Imitations of gold and silver get thrown into the lake. What are imitations of gold and silver? Silver derivatives. There is only one exchange on planet Earth that prices that we determine the silver price from, and that's the COMEX, owned by the CME Group and regulated by the CFTC, which is bullshit. There's talk, Jim Willey was talking about them trying to change. They're going to allow the price of silver to go up to first $30, then $50, then $100 over the next year or so. Allow in a free market, good luck with that. They're going to lose so much physical silver and there's so little left. If you have half a brain, you are completely stocked full of physical silver in your own possession. And if you have a problem storing it, what a great problem to have when silver goes to $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 an ounce. What a great problem to have. Buy yourself a storage facility. Buy yourself, 10 armored trucks and bury them in the ground. I don't care what you do. You're gonna want physical silver in the very near future, and you won't be able to get it. There's a price dislocation that will happen from 170 years of price suppression in silver. Silver is way more valuable than gold. Magnitudes more valuable for two reasons. Number one, silver has dual use. It's a monetary instrument and it's a vital, necessary industrial commodity that eats up half the silver supply every year. And silver's coming out at 7 to 1. Coming out of the ground at 7 to 1. And half of it's getting eaten up, so it should be 3.5. The gold-silver ratio should be 3.5 to 1, and it's up near 80 to 1. 75, 80 to 1. In what world does this fantasy that the banksters, the COMEX, the CFTC, Jeffrey Christian, they want you to believe in the fantasy. They require you to believe in the fantasy, because if you don't take whatever the government gives you, then you're a free sovereign human being. We can't have any of that. Fuck Jeffrey Christian. I'm going to take my silver dagger and show him. I'm not going to talk about it. I'll get dinged for hate speech or some bullshit like that. Anyway, here's what I want to talk about today. Tomorrow's September 11th. I've been saying for a while, there's some drama coming up. I don't know if we'll be able to see it. On September 11, 2008, that's when the $500 billion came out of the money market funds in a matter of 2 hours, and we're literally 2 hours away from the total destruction of every monetary system on planet Earth. That's what Senator Ken Jaworski said 3 weeks later. So yes, it did happen on September 11, 2008. September 11, 2019 is the day that we had the repo going to 10%. September 11th is a big day. Now, September 11th this year comes on a Saturday. What's going to happen behind the scenes? I don't know, but we'll know about it within a month. We will see the ramifications throughout the rest of the year and throughout the rest of our lifetimes of the criminality. The criminals are going down. They are going down. Remember what Roota wrote in the sand. Page 34, I believe. Let's go to the Road to Roota comic book and turn to page 34. Remember where the Road to Roota comic book came from? It's still there. Look over here on the left. Federal Reserve Bank of Boston. Wishes and rainbows. That's Roota. That's Rocky. You can click on it. And oh, by the way, there's a teacher's guide. And what does the teacher's guide talk about? It talks about how this comic book is all about going back to a gold standard. This is from the Federal Reserve Bank of Boston. But look what Roota wrote in the sand. Now, there was a 1981 version and a 2007 version. In the 81 version, this is not written in the sand. 11 plus 9 is not written in the sand. What Roota wrote in the sand is an economic formula called On the Road to the Golden Age, which says basically, you want to get back to a gold standard? Print as much money as possible. Don't tell anybody about it. Print infinity money and destroy the system. That's what they are doing. It's not even behind the scenes anymore. Catherine Austin Fitts found a little chunk of it. 21, I think they're up to 35 or 90 trillion dollars worth of economic fraud in the books of the U.S. government. But that's just a little tiny chunk. Remember what Roota wrote in the sand. Print money to infinity. They are printing infinity money and they're not telling anybody about it. Everything else is just a show. Oh, silver went up today because the budget was not agreed upon. That's bullshit. It's all bullshit. And Alan Greenspan. Everybody know who Alan Greenspan is? Raise your hand if you think Alan Greenspan's the best computer programmer in the world. Or at least was for 50 years. He was a computer programmer way back when. You want to see who Alan Greenspan is? He's right there. Roota is Alan Greenspan. Roota is also a little girl in a comic book. Roota is also Root A programming term in Fortran. This comic book shed the light on what was going behind the scenes back in 1987. It actually shed the light in 1981. When Reagan was having his gold commission report, this is when this thing first came out. All it talks about is Roota saying, I'm going to take down the bad guys. Alan Greenspan, I'm going to take down the bad guys. I'm going to pull all the gold out of the Grand Canyon and find some more, and then set up an oil, what is it called? A Petrodollar. It's all in this comic book. The history of our financial situation is all in this comic book. This is from the Federal Reserve Bank of Boston, a guy named Stephen DeVoe, right here. Stephen DeVoe, military intelligence, worked for the Fed secretly. Not so secret because I discovered it. For 9 years, worked for the Fed, and then where did he go? Bank of America, Citibank, the World Bank, and then IBM to implement computer rigging programs. Stephen DeVoe, his best friend, Assistant Attorney General for the United States of America. All he talked about was freedom. The little gang of the good guys. This is the little gang of the good guys within the Fed. Yes, it is time to expose everything. And why did she write 9/11 in the sand? It's clear as day. Page, I think it's, let's see, what page is it? Oh, by the way, there's the black tears. If you plant the black tears, you're going to grow more flowers. It's all about the petrodollar. I did a discussion with Jean-Claude. The petrodollar was set up in 1971. Everybody knows it now. And the money was recycled. Saudi Arabia was required, and all the Middle Eastern countries, any country around the world, required to buy oil in US dollars to create artificial demand for dollars. Then they had to take those dollars and reinvest them in US bonds and all types of things like US stocks. How does the price stock How did the stock market survive the 70s and 80s? That's how it survived. And then in the early 2000s, that ended. Petrodollar ended 20 years ago. It went just solely to computers and derivatives. The derivative market took over the entire market. FX trading, foreign exchange trading, went from pretty much zero in the 90s to today it is $9 or $10 trillion per day. That's derivatives trading back and forth. Every single market is a derivative market. Because the Exchange Stabilization Fund can do as many derivatives as they want. They don't care. It doesn't matter. As long as you have the regulators to get out of the way, which they have been, and you got the banks, you tell the banks what to do and when to do it, let them skim off what they want because they're part of the con. You have countries who are buying into this bullshit. You don't think Putin could buy every ounce of silver in half a day and ship it all to Russia and end the game? Same with China, same with Venezuela. There's no silver left. Silver is the Achilles heel of the banking cabal, and it will be the destruction of them very soon, I believe. The good guys are going to, but it's not going to be Russia or China buying all the silver. It's going to be the good guys within the United States of America. It would destroy the system. It will destroy the system, and the system needs to be destroyed. So here's Roota running around, finding gold in the Cobblestone Canyon. There it is. Voila, look. She's in Cobblestone Canyon. Look, right here. And this is Alan Greenspan saying, now first, this is Arthur Burns. Arthur Burns, the head of the Fed, says, because people who live in Colorland are very big and might accidentally step on any pebble person who visits, all our people are afraid to go there. The Federal Reserve was afraid to deal with these assholes. This is the deep state cabal, banker cabal. The Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the Anunnaki, whoever you want to call them. All our people are afraid. The Federal Reserve is afraid of these guys. Besides, nobody knows how to get to Colorland. Colorland is a gold standard. Some say you can get there through the caves near Cobblestone Canyon. That is the Grand Canyon. And Alan Greenspan says, I'm not afraid, Grandma. I often play in those caves, and someday I'll find a way to bring Colorland and some of those colors back. He's going to fight the cabal. How's he going to do it? With computers and derivatives. Alan Greenspan was a computer programming expert in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s. His best friend's a guy named John Kimeny. John Kimeny wrote the first shareable computer programs, BASIC. Have you guys ever heard of BASIC computer programming? I had to take it in college many years ago. Take a programming class in BASIC. It was fun. But that's Alan Greenspan's best friend. Alan Greenspan invented this entire electronic financial system. He blames himself for Y2K because he forgot to put 4 digits in instead of 2 back in the 1960s. How was he to know the whole thing would last so long? His first plan was to take it out at the end of the 70s. That was the plan, to destroy the monetary system through printing as much money as possible. Where do you think Star Wars came from and all the money that's been spent since? You don't believe me that Roota's Cobblestone Canyon is the Grand Canyon? Of course it was. Look what happened in 1912. Tell of vast riches in the Grand Canyon. Billions and billions of ounces were found in the Grand Canyon of gold, found in the Grand Canyon. Do you know how much gold there was in the United States in 1912? Like 120 million ounces with an M. Million. And here you find billions and billions of ounces, and we're on a gold standard. Good night. And why did Roota write 9/11 in the sand? It is absolutely 100% a financial cover-up. It is to cover up financial misdeeds. Where is it? Where's Roota? There she is, writing 9/11 in the sand. And you don't think 9/11 is about gold and silver? Remember this picture? Missing gold, precious metals at World Trade Center 4 vault. Only a fraction was recovered. Check that out. Look at the firemen with all these silver bars. These are Comex bars. They found literally, the vault was being emptied while the buildings are starting to come down. Whoever was emptying them left the armored car there wide open, the door wide open of the vault, and had to get out in a hurry? Why did Building 7 fall to the ground and disappear into thin air, just like Buildings 1 and 2? All of it is a cover-up, a con. We can never move forward until we know the truth. And we do know the truth. If you're on Road to Roota, go to Resources, Road to Roota Resources. And there's the first one is the Grand Canyon article. You can read that. It tells you who, where, and how. But you scroll down, here's right here, collateral damage, U.S. covert operations and the terrorist attacks on 9/11. Collateral damage 2, the subprime crisis, terrorist attacks on 9/11. And the last one, September 11 Commission Report revised December 2008. These were all written by the Office of Naval Intelligence and given out to the people. Given to the people to know exactly who, why, and where. And it goes through the history of these covert operations it goes through at least 50, 60 years. It all led up to what happened on 9/11/2001. And then what happens on 9/11 afterwards. So that's where we are. I had a long discussion with our friend Josh Lake, the behind-the-scenes guru that will be posted on the Road to Roota. It just got finished uploading. It's called Special Report, Why Did Roota Write 11 plus 9 in the Sand? Was it a financial cover-up? And Josh and I talk about this for an hour, so it might take a while to download. I'm loading on BitChute because I don't trust YouTube. I'm sitting there with a strike. So check that out. Go to roadtoRoota.com. And also today, Jenny Moonstone and I, we did a 9/11 one. What's going to happen literally this weekend? We did a great one on that a couple days ago. And then we had a little follow-up. There's a whole bunch of Jenny Moonstone posts in readings on what's going on. Blind readings, Smithsonian secrets, 9/11 secrets, Silver Dagger to free humanity. It's just the Silver Battle was our one we posted last week. And the new one it's a mind blower again. And I'll be posting the first half of that today at roadtoRoota.com. If you want to join, hit subscribe today. As long as silver's under $30, we are giving away a free Roota coin with every subscription. Make sure you renew or get it now. I don't know how much longer silver will be under $30, but I wouldn't wait if you want to get one of these coins. Double stamp, cave of gold in the Grand Canyon, Silver Brick Road to Freedom. Check out how cool that coin is. It is the coolest coin ever made. Anyway, you can join today. Follow the Road to Roota research. I'll be posting all weekend about 9/11. It's such a big part of the story. This is Bix Weir. I'll talk to you guys later.
Well, I grew up in the USA. I was taught that speech was free. Birmingham to Burning Man, you can speak any truth you see. Lately things have changed, they say I can't speak truth no more. And I'm just sitting here wondering who they are working for. See, they're gonna kick me off of YouTube. Unless I say 9/11's just another day. And they delete my friends on Facebook. Unless I pretend that socialism's a-okay. And they are gonna shadow ban my Twitter. Unless I tweet the chemtrails of Perrier. Finally they'll ban everything I've got to say as they kill free speech in the USA. They decide what's right, they decide what's wrong, they ban what won't conform. They sit in the shadows, they run the gallows, say I must abide the norm. Without free speech we lose freedom, they cut off our free will. If I find truth that they don't like, they'll label me a shill. And then they're gonna kick me off of YouTube. Unless I say 9/11 was just another day. And they delete my friends on Facebook, unless I pretend that socialism's a-okay. And they are gonna shadow ban my Twitter, unless I tweet the chemtrails of Perrier. Finally they'll ban everything I've got to say, as they kill free speech in the USA. They're trying to kill free speech in the USA. Now wait a minute, it's not like me to give up on a fight. I'll expose their evil plans, bring their shadows into light. And I'll name names, I'll play their games, I've got them in my sight. They're trying to change the USA, I'll fight for what is right. So they can kick me off for YouTube. 9/11's all about building 7 and it ain't okay. And they can delete all my Facebook, but socialists fail every time in every single way. And they can shadow ban my Twitter, but I'm looking up at chemtrail skies each and every day. See, they have no right to ban anything I have to say, and I'll fight for free speech in the USA. I'm gonna fight for free speech in the USA. It's my right, free speech in the USA.